All right, let's talk about Tony Abbott abroad now. And he got a bit of attention for what he said in the United States about defence cuts back home. We'll have a listen to that.
I don't say that savings are impossible in defence, but I do think that it is irresponsible to save money in defence in a way that compromises your military capability, given that Australia's military capabilities are not vast to start with, and certainly the last thing we want to do is to dismay our friends and allies at what is for everyone a difficult time.
Mr Abbott has reached a new low in negativity by going overseas and criticising this nation's national security credentials in front of an overseas audience. That is a new low in negativity, even for Mr Abbott.
This is unprecedented. And frankly, not only is it unprofessional, but it's un-Australian.
We can get a bit precious, can't we, about the sorts of things that opposition leaders are entitled to say overseas?
I don't think there's anything wrong or unprofessional or low about discussing the issue of defence spending when you're in talks with, your greatest ally at all. And the days when you can quarantine what's said on one side of the globe from what's said on the other are long way behind us. But I do think there's a question in terms of what Tony Abbott intends to do about it, given all the other fiscal promises that he's made. But, that's a separate question.
I think this is a very serious public policy issue which hasn't been discussed anywhere near enough in Australia, that the search for the budget surplus, to get the budget back on track, has come at the expense of our defence budget. And I think, as Tony Abbott pointed out, that the projections show that spending as a share of the economy defence spending will fall to its lowest level since 1938. And the Americans are making it very clear at this American-US-Australia dialogue in Washington that they are alarmed that Australia is cutting back our defence capability.
Partly because of their defence industry.
Well,
they want Australians to buy products from their defence industry.
Sure, but I think it's a much more serious issue in terms of, as we go forward into our region where there'll be a really change of a balance of power with the rise of China, that it's a debate we're not having as to, are we basically exposing our defence capability? I think that's a much more serious issue that needs to be debated more here, which Abbott's taking up, than this question about, well, he shouldn't go overseas and do something that's seen as bad in Australia.
The Financial Review is now supporting spending and not spending cuts.
Well, I think on defence, you've got a lot of spending promises being made by both sides of politics, basically handouts to the population at a time when we've never been better off. But this is when your iron ore and your coal prices are at record highs. Now this is falling.
But there's areas within defence to cut spending. I think even the opposition concedes that you can do it. You can actually cut spending.
Tony Abbott made that point in his speech to the Heritage Foundation, and this debate is coming at a time. I think some of the points Michael makes are quite correct, but it is coming at a time when in the Western world, just about all countries, including the US, are cutting back on defence spending. The US is terrified that Europe is going to scale back defence spending dramatically because of the budgetary problems that stretch from one side of that continent to the other. And they're giving this same message, not just to the Australians, but to other nations, saying, look, our belt's tight too. We need other people to help the united effort, and I think that's where it comes in. But politically, I think the point was, this again demonstrates that Julia Gillard and Labor, they'll use any opportunity, no matter how long the bow is and how much of a stretch it is, to attack Tony Abbott. He's the person they can't stop talking about.